Hey everybody, welcome back to Lamson Family Farms. Today is Thursday, June 20th. And I don't know if you can hear that, but a thunderstorm is rolling in. We are in the middle of a heat wave. So I'm trying to spend as much time as possible in the barn. It is about it's about 4:30 in the afternoon right now. It's hot outside, so I've been trying to stay under cover. It does actually stay pretty cool in the barn. In fact, we had, who was it? It was Sierra. We had our horse's teeth floated a couple of weeks ago, and she mentioned that these older barns, especially the old dairy barns, tend to stay very cool. And I definitely have to agree with her. It stays nice and cool during the day in here. I've got everybody in the barn right now or in the back. Cows are in right now. They've been in since yesterday. This heat wave is supposed to last, I think, 4 or 5 days. We're supposed to be in the upper 80s, 90s. All the goats are in. They haven't been outside in the last couple of days. Even the cats. I don't know if you can see Winnie behind me. Right there. Even the cats have been wanting to stay in. So it is definitely hot. So one of the big updates is back there behind me up on the ceiling. You can see I've put in a new board. Because we had a good chunk of the ceiling in that area, good chunk of the ceiling in there cut out because our barn bees are gone. I had someone come in and remove the hive. They did a really great job. They had to cut into the ceiling. There was a board up there before where the previous owners at one point also removed the ceiling to remove the bees. They just keep coming back. And so they opened that up, but the hive had extended past that, so they had to cut a new section, which was totally fine. I'm glad that they came to remove them. They went to a great home. I've heard that they're doing really well, and they came back a couple times to get the stragglers. So I still need to do a couple of things to get this patched up, though. So I put that board up there, and now I need to paint around it. I also have ordered spray foam for the outside because they were getting in through the cracks on the exterior. So I need to patch that up so they won't be able to come back into that space. I'm having to take breaks to wipe my face off. It is so hot out. It's not really the heat. 90 is not actually that hot. It's the humidity. So I've been working on a couple of projects. The biggest one is the fence that I've been updating you guys on. That is mostly done. So I do need to go buy another roll of poly wire. That is what I ended up using. Hi, Winifred. So I need to buy another roll of poly wire and get the rest of the electric fence put up. We've had the horses down there for a couple of weeks now, and it's been going pretty good. It is not hot right now, but they don't know it. And they are very respectful of fences, and they have a full field of new grass to eat, so they're very happy. So I've got one more. I'm doing 3 strands. And I've got 2 strands up right now, and I need to go buy more to do the 3rd strand. I'm waiting to repair my weed whacker so I can weed whack some of the brush and weeds that are along the fence line. We have a lot of mugwort that's coming up down there, which actually is poisonous to horses, and I know that. They do not eat it. It is not poisonous to goats, and in fact for goats it is a great natural dewormer. So I am planning on feeding some to my goats when we get a chance. So that fence is mostly done. I'm feeling really good about it. It's funny, it's not the style that I thought I wanted in my mind, but it just didn't make sense to buy that many wooden fence posts. And so I ended up using logs and branches and things that had fallen down and on our property. So I will calculate it up, but in total, I think I did 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, between 17 to 20 wooden fence posts. Is that right? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, that's right. About 20 wooden fence posts, all collected from trees that had fallen on our property. If I had bought those as pressure treated lumber, it would have been, for the size that I used, probably at $40 to $50 for a fence post, not without the concrete. And so I did end up going to buy concrete, and I bought 60-pound bags, and these were like $4.59 a bag. I think I spent $80. And I used anywhere between anywhere between half a bag to 1 bag per post. And so I only had 1 bag left over. So I really love the way that the fence turned out. It is not what I envisioned in my mind, but it looks very whimsical and kind of foresty, which works out really well for the area that it's in. It's down by the creek, and it's the closest field to our like wooded trails by the creek. And so it really does fit in. There are a couple of things that I will probably do eventually. I'm not going to do them now. I'm not going to do the cross beams on the corners and by the gates, just because I don't need it right now, and I have other projects that need my attention sooner than that. And so that's just going to be a back burner project for when I have time. I will go back and do that at some point. If it doesn't happen in a couple of years, it's fine. But I want to do it eventually. But it's not going to stop me from putting animals on that space. So the horses have been down there, and I will put in videos here of when we put them out there. They looked really happy to go out in a new field. So we had the horses down there for, I think it's been a couple of weeks. Right now they're back up behind the barn, just because they did eat that field down pretty quickly. I hadn't been giving them any hay while they were down there. They've eaten it down, and now I'm going to mow it because they've left a lot of the mugwort, and they've left some other weeds that are kind of flowering that I want to mow down and just give it a reset. So we're going to be doing that for, I'm not really quite sure how long. I do need to start picking what the next field I'm going to fence is, though. We still have not had anyone come and do hay on our property, which is what we had thought was going to happen. So that's been a big curveball for us this year. Last year we had the neighbor's dad do square bales on our bottom field, and that was great. And we were all set to have him, we had wanted to come talk to him about doing more fields this year, and he said he would be willing to do that. We have not been able to get in touch with him, and no one else that we've contacted does square bales. Everybody's doing round bales, which is fine, but our barn is built for square bales. You know, our barn's from the 1800s. We really need square bales, and we don't have a tractor yet, so square bales work best for us. But nobody seems to be doing them that's close enough to come do it. We don't have that many acres. We have like 14 acres, so it's not worth it to a lot of people just to come do that much or that little to them. So we have all of our fields have seed heads on the top. They are really ready to go. So I feel like this year I'm getting kicked into doing more fencing earlier than I thought I was going to. Not the end of the world, it's just not what I was expecting. I do feel like, though, I've been thinking a lot about the concept of proactive versus reactive decisions, and in this case, farming. And I feel like lately I've been stuck more in reactive than proactive, which is not necessarily a place that I like to be in. It does stress me out more than being proactive. And so what I mean by that is I feel like lately something has happened and I've had to react. And it's influencing how I thought I was going to do things. And it's really stressful to be in that place. At least I think it is. I would much rather be planning ahead of time to start something or do something and then prepare for it and then start doing that. But I've had things happen this year, like one of the projects that has been bumped up the list is now fencing for my poultry, which I have fencing up, but we've been having issues with fox coming to get our poultry. And so now I'm having to be reactive and push that up the list and make that more of a priority, whereas I wanted to focus on something else. Another reactive thing that I'm having to do is I had done the fencing for that field, which was a proactive measure, because that was going to be the next phase I wanted them on. I had lots of time to do it. I think I had, done videos on that for a good month and a half. It was less stressful to do that because the horses weren't really waiting for it. But now that I've got them back up here and they've eaten that field down, now I'm having to think about the next field, and that feels very reactionary. So things like that. One of the proactive projects that I did this last spring, which really helped me out, was doing, this is the wall behind me, the goat maternity ward. That's been super helpful this year. It made kidding season so much easier than it was last year. It's been great for the calf. I've had the calf and the buckling in there with her. It's been wonderful. That was a very proactive step. Removing the bees from the tack room has been a very proactive step. I don't have any horse boarders yet. I haven't even started it. So it's been nice not to need that done in a hurry. And I feel like I thrive much better in stages like that where it's proactive choices on my side versus being stuck in reactionary measures. I also feel like when I'm stuck in reactionary measures, it's like trying to do the next step just to accomplish the temporary goal. And that means oftentimes that I'll have to redo it again down the line because it wasn't really what I needed for the long-term goal. And I find that really frustrating. And it's not only frustrating, but it's also costly. It costs a lot of money to do all of the stages as you're learning a process. Like, for example, because I've got poultry on the mind, I can't tell you how much money I spent on poultry waters because I've tried something and it didn't work. So I tried a next thing and it didn't work. And then I tried the next thing that didn't work. Instead of just researching what would be the best method long term, whereas that would have been much cheaper and more timely on my behalf than doing all of the stages in between. So, like last year, when I did the poultry fence, I was thinking about what the poultry need. So I have low fencing right now because I know that the poultry won't go over it and the ducks won't go over it. The chickens and the ducks, they're all poultry. And so that's been fine to keep them in. But now that the foxes have discovered that they're over there, the foxes can just jump right over that. And that's what I'm running into. So I still feel like I'm stuck in a reaction state with them in that situation because my ultimate goal is to not have them in a stationary coop with like a fenced in field. That's not what I want. I eventually want to build a like egg mobile that you can rotate around the fields. It's just I'm not ready to do that yet. So I know I'm going to get stuck doing more temporary things that I will just have to take up later because I don't want them there permanently until I can do what I want long term. And I find that really frustrating. And it's not like it's just, oh man, that's so frustrating. It's also taking me away from projects that I had planned because this is a farm. It's not like I have time just to not do anything. There's always a project. I mean, there will always be projects if I make projects, which I will. So I feel like it's kind of distracting me from what I wanted to do. Like in this case, I still have another wall in the tack room to paint. I still have the door to put on. I have started to clean out the goat area, which I'll talk to you guys about next, but I haven't been able to do as much with that as I wanted to because I feel like I'm getting kind of pulled in lots of different areas. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. It's been something that I've wanted to talk to you guys about for a while now. I don't really think a lot of people think about it like that, but I do feel like, especially when it's, you know, your time and your money and you're trying to get things done, it is worthwhile to sit down and figure out ways to be proactive about situations versus always being stuck in like a reactionary state. You know, you're not going to be able to get away from doing some things reactionary, like things will come up. It always does. But it needs, you know, you want to find a good balance of doing things, getting ready for long-term things ahead of time in the way that you envision versus always just being reactionary, because you'll never really get to your goals quickly that way. It does help, if you can, to just sit down and think about, maybe even delay things, to be more proactive than reactive. So one of the more proactive things that I've been doing right now is I'm cleaning out the goat area. So I've not done a full scoop or clean out of that area in an entire year, which has been intentional, don't get me wrong. I have taken off layers off the top and used that for the cow area when I clean out the cow area. But I've been doing a deep bedding method for the goats, and it actually has worked really well. Really well. I've really been enjoying it. I think it keeps them warmer in the winter. It keeps them pretty clean. It has not been stinky in there, and it definitely attracts fewer flies. So it's been great. But because I have a concrete floor, I do need to scoop it out eventually. And so my goal was to do it in the summer, and we're in the middle of June now. I've got 3 sections in there. I've completed the first section. And so the goat area is going to be seeing a couple of transitions this year. Because I am doubling the number of does that I have, it will eventually become the girls only space. I'm not going to keep the boys in that 3rd section anymore, just because a couple of things are going on. Poe is a lot bigger this year than he was last year, which is expected. Nubians grow slower than the meat breeds, but I feel like we're seeing a big growth spurt in the boys. And he's getting big enough that if he figured it out, he could easily jump over those cattle panel fences in there, the barriers in there. He just doesn't know that he can. But I don't want him figuring that out, because over half of the girls now are his daughters. And so I just don't need him in there anymore. And I think it'd be a good time to get the boys in their own area in the barn somewhere else, and just open up those 3 sections into one big section, and it will just be girls. And so if I open it up into one big section, or as a backup have 2 sections, one section being a big double and then a 3rd smaller section, then it can just be girls, and I won't have to worry about any boys hopping over and accidental breedings. Right now we're keeping, I do have one of the doelings for sale. She is not sold yet, but as of right now we've got 4 doelings from this year, and I have 5 adult girls. And so opening that up will make it so that they can run around, they can interact with each other. It will just be more space for them to have. So that's going to be one of the big changes that I'm doing this year. I'm also going to be reusing those cattle panel barriers for the poultry fencing, because I now need fox-proof fencing over there, and my plan is to use cattle panels backed with chicken wire, and then on the outside of that fence to do electric strands of wire to keep out the fox. So I've been working on that. It's been going really good. I don't have a tractor, so I'm doing it all by hand. I've been using my lawnmower with my cart behind the lawnmower. And I know a lot of people will laugh, but I have really used that lawnmower to its fullest potential since I've got it. And it's been really handy. It's very good for small jobs. I've scooped it out enough in there that I'm to the point where I can bring the lawnmower in, fill up the cart, and then just go take it wherever I need it. And I've been transporting all of the manure over to my garden area, which has been really perfect. So I've been stacking manure piles over there. And then I think this fall, I will probably layer that over my garden space, and then it will be nice and soaked in and decomposed a little bit more for next year. So I've been working on that, and I think I'm going to put in a couple of like playthings for the goats in there. So I have a couple of tables that I'm not using in the barn that I haven't been quite sure what to do with. I've got one of them for sale and it hasn't sold. And I've got this one here that I'm actually talking to you from right now that I thought about moving somewhere else, and that's fine, but I just don't really need more tables. You know, I'm only one person and I have other spaces that I can use. And so I've been thinking I'm going to put the tables in the goat area because one is smaller and one is larger, and it will make perfect platforms for the goats to have places that they can hop up and climb and lay on top of and just be goats. Because right now it's been fine, but you know, ultimately I would like them to have some interactives, and they haven't had anything in there for a year to play on. At our last property, we had those big spools, and they loved them. You know, they're goats. They like to hop up on things. And so I'm going to do that. Let me show you the tables. So I'm going to paint them white. So I've got this one. This is the smaller table. And then behind me, you can see the edge of it there. It needs a new top, but I'm going to be using that as the second table. And I'm probably going to put it in the middle of that space, just because I don't want it close enough to the edges where they could hop up on that and then hop over. So anyway, enough of me chatting. So today the thing that I'm going to be doing in the barn, because it's too hot outside to work, is since I had the goats in the cow area, they really mucked it up back there. So I need to clean that out. And you can see they knocked my gate over. So I need to redo the top latch, which is why it's slanted. So I need to screw in a new hole up there because the hole I had done was just a little bit too loose, which is why they've been able to bend it forward. Let me flip you around so you can see. So I had about a quarter of a round bale in here, and they've eaten it, but they've spread it. And so I'm going to be reusing a good chunk of that for the area in the goat maternity ward where I've got the calf. They're getting low on bedding, and so I'm going to reuse some of this as bedding for them, and the rest I'm just going to scoop out. And then I need to fix this latch. So this was too loose, but I've got plenty of room here. So I'm going to screw in a new hole. Actually, did not realize I had one there. I might try that and then move that up. If that doesn't work, I will maybe put one just above that and get this gate recentered. So that's what I'm going to be working on. But I'm going to put you guys on a time lapse and start working on this. So yeah, let's get done. The people we had come take the bees away were so incredibly nice. And one of the things that, it was a couple and our local butcher, Billy, thank you, Billy, all of which are fantastic. It was really nice to have them here. One of the things that they said was that I keep the barn really clean, and it was so nice to hear that. I definitely have a lot of imposter syndrome, and I really struggle with feeling like I'm not keeping it clean enough in here. You know, I've never had a barn before. I did not grow up around barns. I did not grow up in agriculture. And so it gets really easy to feel like I'm not doing enough and I'm not keeping it clean enough. And so it was very affirming to hear them say that. And I'm trying to keep that in mind. Hi, Ray. I feel like I have a lot of spaces, cow area being one of them, that feel like I'm constantly behind in keeping it clean enough. And so it was really nice to hear from someone who did grow up rurally with barns and has one themselves and has animals, to tell me that I keep my barn really clean. All right, Ray, do I keep it clean enough for you? You poop a lot. Very nice. Do I keep it clean enough for you? Yeah. Right. All right. You've gotten so big. And you're not even that big. Not for a dairy cow. Hi, Mason. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Okay, gotta get to work, babes. You're fine. So I'm just gonna spread that out, and then they should be good to go. So they're doing pretty good. They've been kind of going through the bedding. I think that they're eating a lot of it. I give them fresh hay and they get grain, and I've been giving them fresh grass, but the bedding keeps deteriorating and I think that they're eating it. So anyway, it'd be nice to have some new bedding. She's already looking hungry. She's gonna have to wait till she's got about 3 more hours till her next bottle. Yes. I need to get some fly strips up here as well. She's cute. Hi, girly. Hi, girly. Yes, you're very feisty. Hi, buddy. Hi. Hello. Yeah, what are you doing? I know they'll spread it out over time, but I just like to do a little bit of it. Nice. Crazy lady. Anyway, it looks kind of high right now, but I know that they'll pat it down. All right, here's your grain. There you go. Okay, I'll check on you guys later. Bye. crazy lady.
Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.